Iron Stories, Episode 20, Thicket. Welcome back to another episode of Iron Stories. Yeah, last time Jebran and Katania got way off track, as it seems. So they were in this raging river, and then they got washed away, so to speak, and then they lost their way in the evening, and they ended up in the tanglewood of blood. Well, what's interesting here is that, it is as well a tanglewood is the same as the dark forest was way at the beginning of the game, and I'm thinking, there would be a good, let's say, a good tie-in or a good mashup to put this into okay, what I want to say is at the very beginning of this adventure with Kulan, we also encountered a tanglewood. There it was a corrupted tanglewood, but and now we are in a ravaged tanglewood. So I had a bit of a thought, maybe because to tie in both of these adventures or both of these stories together. So to say that maybe a few years have passed, maybe even like 100 years between the adventures of Kulan and now the adventures of Jebran and Katania. So they have a link between these two adventures, and it's this forest because it's so close to close in a sense of what it is. And I think this would be kind of a way to link these two together, whereas before they were a bit loosely connected just because of certain stuff is going on. And I think narratively it will also be very interesting to see what has happened over the years to this place. So I decided that over the years the dark forest has maybe shifted. So it's no longer known as the dark forest, but in the dark forest there's still this hold for sparrow, but it has gone even more forgotten over the years. And now it's just known as the tanglewood of blood, maybe, and I think it's even forbidden blood. that it's called. For whatever reason. So over the years, there's like a change has gone on in the perception of this place amongst the people, because I think there is like 100 years have gone by between these two adventures, or between these two stories, between these characters. So the last that we knew of, what we saw from Kulan, that he entered the Holdfast Barrow and got overrun by this haunt, a similar creature as Jebran and Katania encountered in the mines, in the Underkeep of Spectres. So I would say that this is a bit linked together. So that the Dark Forest was known as the Dark Forest 100 years ago, and it has now shifted, and the locals, in parentheses, are calling it now Tanglewood of Forbidden Blood for whatever reason. They don't even specifically know, and maybe they're even not aware of the Holdfast Barrow, and it may or may not be already clear, and maybe this we see then during the play, what exactly has happened after Kulan died in the Holdfast Barrow. But because, as we remember, he opened the door, or the gateway was cracked when he entered this tomb in the Holdfast Barrow, and where he then died. So maybe, something got out 100 years ago, and this maybe that's the something that is now corrupting all over the place. And it would make sense that it is even so that the other events that we've counted so far, with the same runes, with the similar like enemies and happenings, that it is so close to the rest of the adventure. So that Greenhome, which was the first place we started off, is so close to like Thornfields and Lost Crag, the other places that we encountered with Jebran and Katania. So I decided to do that, so that we keep it a Tanglewood, a Ravaged Tanglewood, which makes sense because Ravage is the time and disaster or strife have taken the toll. So before it was only corrupted, because the corruption began to spread within the Dark Forest to turn it, and now, because like 100 years have passed between these two events, this corruption has taken its far more toll. But the magic, or the mysticism that happened in this place, that first entrapped Kulan into here, has now also entrapped Jebran and Katania into here, just because they stumbled upon this place as they ventured during the night, and as they made camp, they just woke up here in this place, and they have no idea what has gone on. So that's maybe also why I would think maybe that I increase the difficulty of this place, because I think I did the corrupted thing, Tanglewood, as well as Formidable. I think that's what the last time it I think it increased that. So so I think I increased this as well, because I had it before as only dangerous, but now I think I can take over the thing here, and I'm also copying more or less the like Denison's Matrix, but probably there will be the one or the other surprise for that. Yeah. So, long story short is I decided to make these two places the same or the similar, but just 100 years apart. So we returned to Jebran and Katania, and they are now within this site, and they have no idea how they got there. I mean, they just wandered in the night because they wanted to make up for lost time, because they went into the river and got carried away. So now they want to make up some time. And during that, Jebran forced them more or less to travel further, and that's when they stumbled into here. They woke up, and now they have no idea where they are. Jebran is still a bit I think hurt by the last encounter, so to speak, because he was the one that fell into mostly into the water and had to he was able to get them both out, but he's still more or less hurt a bit from what was happened there. And maybe also not only physically hit, but also probably psychically hit. No, that's not a word. So he's also a bit hurt in his pride, maybe, that he got bested by a river. So yeah, they wake up. It's still dark around. The treetops are covering most of what should be perceived the sky. So they just see all the treetops. It's a very dense forest, and so there's not much daylight that comes through. Just the odd bit light comes through, like in small rays that come down and give all the forest a bit of a darkish, dimish light. With it's perpetual twilight under here, so it's very dim light, and so that's what they see here, or what's for them to see. And I think similar to what Kulan experienced when he was in the corrupted one, they have this these shivers. It's very it's cold still here. There's this lingering fog on the ground that is chilling as well. So they have no idea they don't see they don't have an idea what exactly where they are at all, which makes sense, of course. So Jebran is the first to wake. He, as age goes, he probably wakes up first. So he wakes up, looks around and sees exactly that, like this dim light, the fog everywhere. The fire has burned down. There's maybe just some small embers still left, not giving enough warmth. So that's maybe why Jebran also woke, because he got colder as the fire burned out. He's looking around. He's completely not aware of his surroundings, and he's shaking. He's shaking Katania to also wake up, because it's not for he doesn't feel safe anymore, and he wants to leave as quickly as possible to get back onto track, to where they were, to the next civilization, to get maybe a bit of better rest, and maybe resources and stuff. So yeah, that's what he basically wanted to do. So he wakes Katania up, and Katania wakes up, still sleepy, sorts. And she too is surprised on where they are and what it is. So definitely she agrees, and she gets her stuff together, more or less immediately to leave, as well. So yeah, so they break their camp and they start to get their things together, and then they go about their way. So I would say that since I think Jebran was the first to wake, that he is probably the one that leads the way for the moment. So I would say he goes on first, tries to find the path through here, to maybe also find out where the hell they are. He has no idea. So he's taking points also, probably because Katania is maybe still a bit sleepy and groggy, and he's maybe up a bit longer and has more adrenaline maybe in his blood, so that he's more pressed to get out of here. So he looks around, tries to find a path, or maybe even track the path that they did when they entered here. So maybe there is still some markings left, some like broken branches or something like that, where he could maybe find out what their path was when they entered the forest, to retrace their steps and get out of it at the same time. Yeah, so he tries to look around. He likes to look for signs of path, or signs of these things. Strong hit. Okay, so that's nice. So they're so he is actually able to do that. So he is, even though there's this thick fog, he seems to be able to find, I would say, a path. Some broken branches, some leaves that are a bit higher up than from the fog, because the fog is mostly obscuring anything path-wise or anything clue-wise on the ground. He can like try to not blow, but like whisk away the fog a bit, so he can see on the ground where he blew away the fog for a moment before it comes back together. So it's not really helpful. So he tries to like a bit higher. The fog is just on the ground. There's just a thin layer of fog there. It's not like completely the whole place is fog. It's just like a fog is on the ground. So maybe like 5-10 centimeters of fog on the ground, so he can just look a little bit higher, which is even something that he maybe is preferring, because if he looks down there, he might see signs of power, signs of broken branches, etc., from small game. So it's maybe not a great idea to look that down there anyway. It would have been nice to see like footprints or something like that, because this would be a telltale sign of them, but it's hard for him to see in the fog. But at least if he goes up a bit on the branches, maybe shoulder height, or like more on hip height, it makes more sense to look for signs there, because then it's more accurate to see, okay, this is probably something from a bit bigger and not necessarily from a like a hair or something like that. So it makes sense to look a bit. So he's able to find some signs and follow them through. Yeah, so he's able to find a bit of a way through there, and follow what he perceives, to retrace the same steps that they hopefully did the night before, to hopefully a way out of this forest that he still isn't that happy about to be in here. Let's see if I can even like roll a bit on what they see. So let's roll a d100. 26. So what is a feature that they may encounter? Then Thicket. Okay. Yeah. So he follows the path that he perceives along. It's getting he has the feeling that he's getting closer and closer to the exit, to the end of the forest, because he thinks they couldn't have gone for more than an hour or two into the forest. So clearly it should maybe take an hour longer just to find the path again and to find out, but it shouldn't take too long again to get out. And he's a bit wondered still, because there is so much, because there isn't that much daylight in here. Clearly, he can't see any. So, if there would be an end to the forest, there would be daylight ahead. Ahead of the forest, of course, because it has to open up so light can come in. And he maybe is also trying to see where the forest may be a bit brighter than on other places, so that may be an indication of where the exit could be. So he tries to shift the way a bit to there, and they traverse maybe for an hour or so, when before they enter this very dense thicket that seems to, which is kind of interesting for Jebran as well, because why would this thicket thrive here in an environment where there is almost no light, just this dim light around? So why would it still thrive here in this forest? But it seems to be still a very much alive, so to speak, thicket, and it's very strange for him to where he gets his the nourishment and the light to even grow in this environment. He's puzzled why, because from what he knows, limited knowledge from botany, that he knew or would know is that trees and everything green needs light to thrive. So it's kind of odd for him. And this unweary feeling that he already had when he woke up and wanted to get out is just more and more intensified as he walks and walks. And it's still a bit cold, and the fog has even more of a chilling effect, especially on their feet and ankles, where the fog is like it's like an ankle deep fog. So at least when they got into the thicket, the ankles got a bit warmer, because the thicket seems to have like displaced a bit the fog, whereas before where there was no or little to no stuff on the ground, the fog was just there and like lingered around the feet and gave this chill. So at least it got a bit warmer, so to speak, but not really. But I would say that still he is, because as well in the thicket, because it's so dense, he could maybe more clearly see a path where there's like more broken branches and leaves, because of this thicket. It's very hard to not break something when you go through here. So at least this gives him a bit of a better chance of finding a path out of here. So that's why he chooses to go into the thicket, to use it to see the path, to hopefully getting out faster than he would. So he's leveraging this action, or he's leveraging this opportunity of the dense thicket to hopefully find a better path out of this site, out of this forest that he's definitely not happy about. So he's again still searching for the for signs and clues where they might have gone the night before, with a similar like vigor or a similar with a similar sense of intuition and observation to go through. And even with the +1, it's a total miss here, because I rolled a 10 on the challenge dice, of course, but not 2, at least that. So he enters the thicket, and he's able to trace somewhat a path through it, and it becomes thicker and thicker as they go into this part of the forest. Still, he's very puzzled about how the thicket could thrive. It becomes even less and less. There's even less and less light. Maybe it's still dim, but it maybe gets a bit dimmer. But he's still able to see a bit, which makes also tracing the steps a bit harder than it is otherwise. And maybe that, and maybe a bit of overconfidence. Maybe it is the place. He seems to have lost the track within this dense thicket, and it's becoming a bit unclear than it has before. So there is I have to face the danger that lies within here. So it's a precarious architecture or terrain that I encounter here, which would make sense. So the thicket becomes denser and denser, and there is also maybe the composition of the plants that are forming this thicket. So whether they started maybe like maybe before it did go from knee high, got slowly up as they get deeper and deeper into this thicket. It becomes higher and higher, where it's now maybe for Jebran at least, like breast high, upper body high thicket, and at the beginning there's maybe like just a bit of simple shrubs, etc. that are forming of this, and now it's as they enter, and it gets even denser, and it becomes also thorny as they go into this, maybe like briar patches in this, within this within this within this thicket, so there becomes more and more thorny plants that are compromising out of this the thicket. So it becomes, so he is now more concentrating in like push as the thorns and these and branches that with it thorns are clinging to his legs, and as well as to the legs of Katania and to the thing. He's more more concentrating on pushing away these things, and they sting in his hand as he's pushing them away with his bare hands. And maybe at some point he's like taking out his axe and trying to whittle against the thicket as hard as he can to like get rid of it. And of course with that he is also destroying any sense of path he would see where he did go through. But at the same time he's thinking, well, if we passed through here the night before, I would surely remember this horrible and annoying, especially thicket. It doesn't make sense that he wouldn't remember that he did go through this patch of briar, and so he's probably thinking whatever path or signs and clues I was chasing is probably not from us. It doesn't make sense. And with that, he also gets the feeling a bit of a fear as well as if he has followed these clues and he didn't get any closer, because they were now in like maybe 2 hours or 3 hours in this forest, and he's thinking, well, at this time we should have at least found our way out, or maybe come to a clearer path to where we went. So whatever these clues and signs and foot tracks and whatever were that he followed, it probably brought them deeper into the forest instead of out of the forest, he fears. So he has no idea where he where they are, even more than before, and this scares this scares, of course, Jebran, because he wants to be more under control. He's a bit like he wants to be the strong male type, to always know what goes on, etc. And so he is a bit now, of course, scared about that. He wants to get out of here, no matter what, even more than before. So yeah, I think at some point he now tries to get out of here, and even he's now, because he thinks, okay, checking for signs and clues this doesn't give us anything. At least let's get out of this thickets, from all this thorny stuff. This makes him more angry than he does him confidence that they are finding their way out. He begins maybe lashing out a bit, and even like as he's getting more angry and more agitated at the thicket, and maybe he's with the axe, he's a bit taking out his frustration a bit on the plant life as well. He begins to speed up his step, his footing, also no, not even turns around, maybe just like shouts or tells to Katania to keep up. We need to get out of here. Let's get a bit of a faster pace here. So he begins to hastily try to get out of here. Maybe a bit counter to his training or to his experience. He starts to go through. So now I have the opportunity here. So it's a miss. What I could do is to burn momentum to turn this miss into a strong hit if I want to. But I think I could leave it. Oh no, wait, I think no, it is a miss. I think I rolled on the wrong person here. Because Katania has the high momentum and not Jebran, and Jebran is doing this. So never mind. So I think I take the miss here, which it would be a weak hit actually, because Jebran has a bit of a higher edge. Okay, so it's a weak hit. Never mind. Wow, I should check out before I do. So let's say this is a weak hit here. I don't think I want to take this as a strong hit anyway, because it doesn't make sense narratively now to make it a strong hit. Just because, I mean, he is probably losing his way a bit, and trying to get out of it. So I would say that that this is a weak hit here. I roll again a d100 here to the table here. So what is edge? Okay, so I mark progress, which is good, but I reveal another danger. Which I am okay with. And I would say that, and it probably makes sense that this the thicket houses a denizen. So let's roll another d100 to see what this denizen could be. It's a 24, so it's a common one. Okay. Okay, so as Jebran is hacking through the thorns, he's not paying attention to the surroundings, or especially what's going around. He's just a bit having his frustration and anger, and maybe also a bit of pressure. Maybe not fear per se, but he is anxious to get out of here. So he's going on maybe a little reckless here, hacking and slashing around and getting. He just wants to get out of here as quick as possible, because he doesn't feel safe here as well. that he doesn't see that within the thicket itself there is some movement, so he can, or maybe Katania, because she's following in behind the carnage that Jebran leaves. She can see the movement in the thicket going on, and at one point she tells it to Jebran, or yells to him rather, to watch out. There's something in the thicket. Stop for a moment. And right as he says that, there's like this wild so there's with quite some speed. There is this boar coming for, it's always boar or wolves with me, but so there's just, well, they can't see it directly. There's just with the movement, just it's like this, it makes a wave through the thicket, and it comes closer, and it just rams into Jebran as he swing around his axe. And all they could see just for a brief moment is this boar, but it's not a normal boar. It has the same signs of corruption and well, not corruption, but of I don't know how to describe it. Well, it has this similar as they saw with so many times before in their travels here, that the boar just has like sort of like open wounds or flecks of flesh that are hanging out or are visible, but instead of being this pure or which would be normally flesh color like blood, or a darkened flesh where the wound would be normally, there is this shimmering color on there, this grayish, sometimes even dull, even going into some sort of a bit into a blackish color. There is like protruding from these wounds on the sides, on the maybe some part of the legs. There's even protruding small and sometimes even larger crystals of iron. So this boar has been transformed similarly as they've seen with the bear on the island, as they've seen in the mines, as they've seen sometimes now in their travels. This boar seems to have been transformed by a similar sickness, similar magic, or whatever it is, and it's just what they see for this brief seconds before the boar, as it ran into Jebran, and Jebran loses his balance and falls down, and the boar just rushes further back into the thicket, and it seems to So it rushes in, and then Katania, as she is a little bit behind and can see a bit, because even though it's the thicket has gotten higher and higher from knees up, and she's maybe a bit smaller than Jebran, but she could still see above, and she can still see the movement a bit within the thicket, and she can see that the boar is just like circling around in a big circle around, and is now as it looks like trying to get some sort of warm up or ramp up, well, or let's say running start again to run with even more fervor and even more strength against them. Jebran is as he toppled over is taking up, and luckily for him, he already has his axe in hand from when he was swinging against the thicket, and says to Katania, better end this quick, so we get further around or further out of this place. The quicker we do this, the happier he is, or he will be, he says. Stands up and readies against himself, against the next attack of the boar, as the boar is running in a wild purse around him, and taking a run up against him. And I think this is a good place to take a break again, with the fight against this iron-racked boar that they encounter in this site, to see what happens next. So yeah, I think it still didn't reveal itself how the Tanglewood and the Dark Forest are merging together, but I think this is a great, as I said at the beginning, a great opportunity to link both of these adventures together, and maybe even expand on that, what happened between within this 100 years between these two sites. So I'm happy to explore this further in the next episode. I hope, of course, that something will present itself in the next episode for that, but I'm optimistic, just how this system works. So far it has brought stuff together. So we will hear us in the next episode.